All righty. Just gonna make sure that we got everything going. Check, check, check. Sorry for anybody that's going to be joining right now, and you're going to see me just looking down. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is good, making sure that. All righty, guys, what's up? We're back at it again, starting a new season. I know I haven't been on YouTube for a long time, but I just wanted to get back into it. And this time, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing this in a podcast style format. I realized that last year it wasn't the best choice to try and do it a commentary video without even having anything on the screen. So now we're going to try it this way. As you can tell, I don't have the best quality screen right now, or camera right now, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to be trying to go into it. We're going to be looking at this week's matchups from the past week, see how things turned out, see our predictions for next week, and also the news on Aaron Rodgers. Unfortunately, yes, he has been injured. He tore his Achilles tendon, and he will be missing the rest of the season. So the question will be now: will Zach Wilson be the team that? Will this be his team, or will they go out and look for somebody else? And it seems like right now they're going more in the direction of trying to keep him and maybe look for somebody to back him up. But overall, it's going to be a fun stream. I hope that you guys can enjoy it. Let me know if my voice is too low for you guys, or if you guys can't hear me good enough, and I'll try to adjust the volume. But yes, so first things first. I mean, we started the day off with a bunch of great matchups. You know, I have a list of the games for the past week. I have to pull it up real fast. So, I mean, to start off the week, what better game? Yeah, that defense is really good. Definitely, if you for the people that watch this later when it's posted, he said Zach Wilson is going to be good based on that defense, and yeah, definitely his defense will give him a chance to really develop a little bit more, and especially having Aaron Rodgers in his corner. We don't. I mean, Aaron won't be able to walk for a while, but I mean, to give him guidance and then have that person in your back pocket to really help guide you through your development. I think that that's something that Zach Wilson definitely needs. He looks more confident. He's still making some subtle mistakes, but he definitely played better than Josh Allen, and that's all that you can really ask for from Zach Wilson. I mean, at the end of the day, uh, you just didn't want him to let that game get away from them. They had to come back, and Zach Wilson did what he needed to do to get the win. And you can't ask for much more. But I, you can definitely still tell that there's a big asterisk or big question mark for what's going to happen with the Jets going forward. Are they just going to be content with Zach Wilson? Do they think that he's really going to be that, that person that he's going to be able to live up to the expectations? We're just going to have to see. But the good news for him is that he has such a great defense that it's going to give him a little bit of a buffer to really develop his defense more, or not his defense, sorry, his offense and reading the plays. And we're gonna see. I mean, at the end of the day, Nathaniel Hackett did make Blake Bortles good for that 1 year. You guys, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how Zach Wilson will play under that type of system. See if he takes well to it, um, and just it's going to be very interesting to see, and I hope the guy had nothing but the best. Definitely, like when he first came out, there was an aura of like cockiness from him, but especially like through the ups and downs that he's dealt with, I think that he's really learned to be more humble in himself, and I that's something that can be very greatly appreciated. But anyways, to start off the week, man, the best way to start off the week if you're a Raiders fan, the Chiefs lose to the Lions. And that Lions defense is for real. That was one of the biggest question marks for this team going forward. I mean, like that offense was very feisty. They were last year towards the end of it. They really went out there, um, put it all on the line. They were able to knock out Aaron Rodgers and the Packers last year from playoff contention. They weren't able to qualify, but I mean, they were looking good. So it was a big question mark for them coming into the season how they were going to be able to make a difference. In the defensive front, because last year they were ranked 28th defensively speaking. So it's good to see that they've made some additions. Aiden Hutchinson, he looked like a dog out there. He was sniffing out the holes, going out, falling back, and rushing, finding the open hole, and really putting pressure on Patrick Mahomes. And as a Raiders fan, you want to say that you obviously want to say, oh, the Chiefs are going to suck this year. Realistically, they're going to be just fine. It's week one. Week one is always the most crazy blowouts. The stuff you never expect. So I think that the Chiefs are going to be just fine. Their offense just needs to get better at catching the balls. And another thing too, that defense is actually looking pretty good. I hate to say it, this is going to be one of the best defenses, but I mean, it's going to have to supplement that offense because that offense is not really Super Bowl quality, in my opinion. I think that they really need to develop more some of their key pieces or make some adjustments. But at the end of the day, they have Patrick Mahomes, they have Travis Kelsey. If Travis Kelsey comes back next week, I think that they'll be just fine. He just needed his number one receiver right there, and he didn't have him. But in other news, you have a bunch of these, you know, you have a lot of just like stuff that you didn't really expect. You had question marks coming into hold on. You had a lot of question marks coming into the first week, seeing who was going to be really a factor in you know in these games. There was a big question for if Seattle was going to be able to beat the Rams, and unfortunately, they weren't without a healthy Cooper Cup at that. So, I mean, now we have questions for you know we have questions for the Seahawks. Their defense didn't look as good as they were supposed to. Oh yeah, most definitely. The Lions most definitely have a 10 times better than they were. I mean, they were putting pressure on Patrick Mahomes all night. Patrick Mahomes didn't get a chance, and that's what I was saying too. Like when I was watching that game, that's one of my biggest things that I was. Sorry, that was one of the biggest things that I was talking towards is that Patrick Mahomes defense, or sorry, Patrick Mahomes was running for his life the entire game, and as good as Patrick Mahomes is, you can't really expect him to win the game by himself. His his offensive weapons needed to step up. The run game in that game wasn't great. Isaiah Pacheco, but I mean they've never been a running team to begin with, so I'll give them that. But they definitely have some things that they have to work on. Sorry, my daughter just came in. But yeah, that was a crazy game. Also another thing, I picked there was 15 games, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. No, there were 16 games week 1, and I picked 11 right out of 16. So we're gonna start keeping track of how many games we predict right, and at the end of the season, we're gonna see our percentage. Um, but yeah, another thing that I wanted to talk about is did you guys see that Chargers versus the Chargers versus Dolphins game? That was an amazing show of offensive. That was an offensive showdown. Both defenses probably suck ass, but you know, the Tua Tua really shut up the haters on Sunday. He really stepped up. He balled out with what was it? He had 466 yards, 28 for 45 completion, and only one interceptions and 3 touchdowns. Justin Herbert, I mean, it was no scrub either, but I mean, compared to Tua, I mean, 23 for 33, 229 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, that would sound impressive, but Tua with 466, almost 500 yards. Do you guys think that? Do you guys think that that this is going to be the year that Miami becomes the powerhouse of the AFC West or AFC East? Sorry, because realistically, based on how all the other teams played, and especially, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers hadn't tore his Achilles tendon, we would have Miami and Jets as the top 2 contenders, because I mean that defense alone made Josh Allen look pedestrian, but at the same time, we all know that Josh Allen has a history of, trying to force the ball, and unfortunately, we love it sometimes. Sometimes we hate it. It could be a detriment at times, but when he makes those throws and it connects, you love it. You love it at the end of the day. But yeah, um, definitely he needs to work on that. You could even see it in the press conference afterwards. He was very frustrated with himself and how he played, and I'm just very interested to see in the steps that they're going to do to try and mitigate that for the weeks coming up. And yes, Raiders and Broncos. That's Jimmy G looked good. I will say that he looked like a pocket. He looked like a leader in that pocket. He looked like he was confident in there. He seemed like he knew the offense and he was comfortable in there. And he was a dog. Um, Overall, with the Raiders' performance, I wasn't impressed. We're number one in the division right now, and I'm glad for that. But realistically, our our we still have some problems in our secondary that we need to address. Allowed some some big some big yardages that we could have stopped, but I mean, both quarterbacks were pretty pedestrian. Um, in my opinion, I think Jimmy G hit 200 and no yard. I think it was 200 yards exactly. I think it was 200 yards exactly. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. I did not pull up the stats for that game. But yeah, 20 for 26 completions, not that bad. 200 yards, 2 touchdown, and only one interception in the red zone. That was he tried to make that play, and I'm not mad at it. But overall, the Raiders still seem to struggle a little bit in the red zone. Um, the Broncos couldn't really sack Jimmy though, so he seemed mobile, and I really like what I see, but I don't want to say anything to jinx the Raiders. I'm just gonna wait to see how it turns out. But yeah, yeah, that was all Hill. Yes, I mean 200 yards by himself. What was his yards? I have that one. He Hill had 11 receptions and 215 yards for 2 touchdowns. Yes, it was all Hill, especially in that last play where he was going running out in the corner, and then he slightly slanted in for the post route. I'm trying to get this so it doesn't hit the damn thingamabob. But anyway, yeah, that was definitely all Hill. But overall, you got to be happy for Miami. Chargers definitely look good offensively. Defensively, there's still a lot to be desired with that team. I mean, but the only team in our division that really defensively speaking in the AFC West that are really defensively speaking is the Donkeys or Broncos or and the Chiefs defense is looking pretty good. But you got to ask a lot of questions, especially considering that Staley is a defensive minded coach. You'd expect the defense to be one of the best, but apparently not. A lot of questions also for Kellen Moore to see how he does for the rest of the seasons. There was there's just a lot of questions to be had for every for a lot of teams. I think that week one is just not really. We have to see a little bit more football. We start kind of getting the gist of players by about week 5, 6. That's when you start seeing, okay, this guy's legit, or okay, that guy had a good game. But I think that teams are just trying to see what they can try, what works, what doesn't, and stuff like that. Also, another unfortunate news I forgot to mention: J.K. Dobbins also out for the season with a torn Achilles for the Ravens. Unfortunately, the Ravens' curse of having running backs get injured continues, so their number one running back will now be Lamar Jackson. Unfortunately, not really, but Patriots versus Eagles game. That was one that was pretty interesting to me because you would think that the Eagles would just demolish the Patriots, but the Patriots defense actually held in there. They did some good plays. They put good pressure on Justin Jalen Hurts. Sorry, they put good pressure, and then Mac Jones too. He looks way more confident he looks more confident in the pocket, and he also looks uh, more like commanding of the offense. He looks like he looks better overall. I like how the Patriots are looking. You might not like the Patriots. I might not like the Patriots, but at the end of the day, Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick, and he knows how to play football. He knows who to bring in and who to help, who can help the offense overall. So can't be mad at the guy. I'm actually excited to see what they're going to do this year. Hopefully, Mac Jones can have a good year. You want to, football is always better when you have all the teams competitive. Nobody wants to see a boring game like New York Giants versus the Cowboys. Speaking on that, holy cow, there is a lot of questions now for the New York Giants going forward. I mean, take nothing away from the Cowboys. They played an excellent defensive game. They did a lot of great coverages, intercepted Daniel Jones twice, two for pick sixes. They played tremendously well. Both of them, hats off to uh, hats off to that defense because I think they're one of the best defenses in the league, most definitely, and they will definitely stay like that. They look scary. I don't like the Cowboys, but they definitely look scary. They are definitely a threat this year, and you know, as much as I hate to say it, they are one of those sleeper teams that you got to pay attention to because they can come in and um, mess you up. Give me a second. I have to check on my kids. And I'm back. Um, so yeah, there's definitely a lot of questions now for the New York Giants and what they're gonna do. Yeah, Darren Waller's out, or I think he might be out for next week. No confirmation yet, but he still has that lingering issue with his knee or his hamstring. I'm sorry. So, I mean, I love Darren Waller when he was with the Raiders, but at the end of the day, I think that it was a good choice for us to get rid of him. How about them Cowboys in defense? That was more than I expected. Yeah, that was definitely more than I expected. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That was one of the picks that I had to switch last second. I swapped my pick like the day before. I was like, realistically, I think that you know they're going to be all right overall. The biggest question mark that people are going to have is Dak Prescott himself. If he's going to be able to go in there, uh, be one of those guys that can take you to the promised land, because you can tell that Jones, that owner, he doesn't seem like he's completely sold. I mean, he trying to give the tiptoe around it, but I mean, I think that Jones is giving this guy a chance now. Like, hey, you better prove yourself this year, because you know we don't know how long you're going to stay here for. I mean, bringing in Trey Lance, don't you guys think that that is more of like a clear shot to Dak Prescott? Fuck, Dak Prescott, to tell him like, hey, if you don't pick up your shit today or this year, if you start throwing your interceptions, you're going to be replaceable. Everybody's replaceable at the end of the day, no matter how. Look at Chandler Jones' situation. I mean, we brought him in, we invested all this money in him, and he now had a mental episode, and now we still don't know what the hell's going on with him. He prayers out to him and his family. Hopefully everything's going well with him, but we don't know what's going on with him, and now we're just left in the dark, trying to wonder what could have been. But back on the topic of defense speaking, though, yeah, another defensive team, the 49ers. The 49ers destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was just bad. I mean, Kenny Pickett looks like a bum. You gotta, and you thought that at least the defense was going to be able to do something, but maybe it's just that the San Francisco offense is just so good that they just made the Steelers look mediocre. But man, that was just bad. I mean, but it kind of confirms what we knew about the 49ers. They're legit. They're a legit team. We're going to see how they do next week, the Steelers. But after that, I mean, I'm going to give the Steelers a grade of 3 out of 10. That was pitiful. I mean, there's still some hope. I mean, I guess to really get, but man, you guys got a lot of work to do. You guys got a lot of work to do, most definitely. Another one that was kind of crazy was the Bengals versus Browns. Now, that was one of those picks where I picked the Browns because, historically speaking, since Joe Burrow has came into the league, he has a record of 1-5 against the Browns. Now it's 1-6. That being said, I did not expect that. I did not expect that type of whooping. That was the last thing that I was expecting to see from Joe Burrow. But I mean, like, also look at all the other players that just got signed. I mean, Bosa got pancaked by a tight end. You have Burrow playing like ass. You had Aaron Rodgers fucking tearing his Achilles. I mean, Lord, is like paying your guy a curse, like, for the first game or something? Because, goddamn. But yeah, that was that was just, I don't even know what to say. So I have a question for you guys. What was your guys' favorite game of the week? What game really got you interested? For me, I thought it was going to be the Saints versus Titans game. There was going to be a lot of questions for that game. Both great defenses, but the real question would have been like Derek Carr versus Ryan Tannehill. Derek Carr's first game with the New Orleans Saints, And it pretty much turned out exactly how you expect a Derek Carr game to turn out. Um, I love the man. He's he's middle of the pack, but I mean, he's like a older version of Josh Allen without the upside. You know what I mean? Like he has the arm strength and he tries to extend the plays. He tries to make these plays. He wants to seem like the superhero, but in the end, for him, it doesn't go like that. Like it just doesn't. So that game left a lot to be desired, but the one thing that is legit is the Saints defense. That Saints defense is the best defense that Derek Carr has ever played behind, and bar none. Derek Carr has never played under with a defense that's been in below the top 20. Oh crap. My screen is glitching out. My screen was glitching out and I don't know why. But anyway, maybe it was the magnets. Either way, I don't want to find out. But yeah. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Derek Carr. Yeah, that's one of the best defenses that Derek Carr has ever played again under, and I think that Derek Carr is going to look just fine. He's going to win the division. Desmond Ritter looked good. I mean, I guess the Atlanta Falcons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Saints all won. The only one that lost was the Panthers, I believe. Right? Yeah. So the only team that lost was the Panthers. But the Saints only allowed 15 points. The Buccaneers defense only allowed 17 points against the Vikings, which is most surprising of everything was that the Buccaneers beat the Vikings. But at the end of the day, Baker Mayfield's good for one game a year. Well, he'll just surprise the fuck out of you and just make you question it. I mean, he did it last year against Raiders. I should know. He fucking ruined my entire season last year. That was the worst fucking thing that could have happened to me. Watch you. Let me just explain something to you guys. Being a fucking Raiders fan is the most painful thing to be in as a sports fan because you get to watch every year in pain. It's not fun. It's definitely not fucking fun. I'll tell you that. I mean, last year I had a lot of fucking hope for us. I had fucking hope that we were gonna do something against the fucking Rams, a team that was shitty, and then they fucking had to bring Baker Mayfield because fucking Matthew Stafford hurt himself. I was like, okay, at least we're gonna get this win. Nope. No, he had to fucking sweep that shit right underneath our fucking feet. He took that rug right underneath our fucking feet, made us fucking just look like absolute garbage that we are. And yeah, that was the worst fucking game besides the getting beat by an NFL announcer that had no experience as an NFL coach. That was the second worst thing that happened last year. But I mean, losing to a player that, you know, literally just touched down in LA probably like 48 hours before that, and losing to him is the most embarrassing thing that I had to experience. But I mean, Baker's gonna Baker Mayfield. He's gonna bake. That's all I can fucking say about that guy. Fuck Baker Mayfield. I'm still salty about that. And fuck Derek Carr too. Not really. Sorry, I had to go on a little bit of a rant there because yeah, just brought back terrible memories, and I'm hoping that this year will be overall better. But anyway, looking at the NFL as a whole, you know, you got a lot of teams, a lot of uh, a lot of great teams uh, that didn't do good. You got Joe Burrows, like I said, no touchdowns. They only got one field goal in. I'm sure they're going to be fine. Last year they started the same way. I think they started at 0-2 last year. So I mean, they're going to be fine. But there's definitely, you know, you get a little bit worried. You get a little bit worried. But anyway, Raiders number one in the division, AFC West, because they're the only team that won. Thankfully, I'll enjoy it while it lasts. Let's go Raiders. AFC North, the Browns lead in the division right now because they have 24 points, but only 3 points against. And so it's the Browns, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals right now. The team with the biggest question marks is definitely the Steelers in that organization. Um, and you know, there's just questions all over it. I mean, it's week one. We can't really make a genuine assumption of any team. We don't have a good sample size. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, Bijan Robinson is looking like a legit running back. He looks legit. He's running down motherfuckers' throats. That guy is definitely somebody that I should have picked up. But yeah. CJ Stroud made his debut against the Ravens. Looked all right. Can't it's his first game. 28 for 44 attempts, 242 yards, no touchdowns. Uh, put up more yards than Lamar Jackson and didn't get intercepted. So I mean, can't really complain with him. He did what he could. Damian Pierce only running for 38 yards. Lamar Jackson being the leading rusher for their team with only 6 attempts, getting 38 yards. Zay Flowers is the leading receiver for them with 9 receptions for 78 yards, and Nico Collins for the Texans getting 6 receptions for 80 yards. Then you got you know good yardage by the good pieces right there. You see Robert Woods gets 6 receptions for 57 yards. Nathaniel Dell, 3 receptions for 34 yards. Noah Brown. So they were spreading the ball around. They did a good job of trying to get the ball to different receivers. I think that they're going to do better. That defense is definitely the Texans defense though is looking pretty stout, putting pressure on Lamar Jackson. I mean, that offensive line had Lamar Jackson running, and they couldn't really pick up anything as far as rushing. Their leading receiver was like I said, Lamar Jackson with only 38 yards. But in total, I mean, they got what is that, 60, 80, 60, 92. Yeah, they got over maybe 110 yards in total around there. Just trying to do the math real quick in my head. They did. Oh, they did all right overall. There's a lot of still question marks on both teams. I think that next week's matchups for them will be a better indication of how good these teams will be. Um, slow. It always starts off slow for them, for everybody involved. So next week we're starting off with the Vikings versus the Eagles, I believe, and they're going to be at Eagles Stadium. Yeah, they're going to be playing in Eagles Stadium. What do you guys think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to win? My prediction is going to be the Eagles win by about 10 points, maybe 14, 2 touchdowns, at least 1 touchdown. I think that the Eagles will win by. But yeah, my pick is the Eagles for Vikings versus Eagles. Ravens versus Bengals. Now, my biggest question is how Joe Burrow will make the adjustments to be better, and that Ravens defense is pretty good overall. They did a good job, kind of putting pressure on on Stroud, but oh man, Joe Burrow's offensive line is still pretty bad. It's still pretty bad overall. So I don't want to bet against the Bengals. So just give me the Bengals. If I lose that one, it is what it is. Eagle or Lions versus Seahawks. Give me the Lions for that one. Colts versus Texans. 2 rookie QBs. The second QB taken and the third QB taken. Anthony Richardson versus CJ Stroud. Um, I like how Anthony Richardson was playing. If you watched him play against, who did he play against? Actually, I don't. I fucking. I have such terrible memory. I'm sorry, guys. They played the Jaguars. I mean, against that Jaguars defense, I mean, he looked pretty good. Not gonna lie, he tried to force a ball, but you look at him and he definitely has that talent. He has that special ability that he's gonna be a special talent in the league. So, um, give me Anthony Richardson and the Colts to win that game. I think C.J. Stroud still has a long way to go, and you know, I don't know where they're gonna go, but they have a long way to go. Bears versus Buccaneers. Give me the Buccaneers for that. Jaguars versus Chiefs. Give me the. Okay, I do not want to answer this one because I don't know really what to expect. Are the Chiefs going to be playing Travis Kelsey or not? And are the wide receivers actually going to catch a ball or not? Because if not, then I mean, give me the Jags. But I mean, it all depends. If that defense could put pressure on Trevor Lawrence and get him uncomfortable running out of the pocket, trying to make him throw on the run, I think that the Chiefs can win that game. But for right now, it all depends on if Travis Kelsey is going to play or not. That's basically what my prediction falls upon: is Travis Kelsey going to play? Then we got Packers versus Falcons. That was another one I forgot to mention. Packers versus the Bears. I was who's going to tell me that they expected that to happen? Nobody can tell me that they expected that to happen. I was surprised when because I didn't really watch that game. That was one of the games where I was just like expecting a blowout, but I did not expect that to happen. I was surprised to see how well Jordan Love played, and wouldn't it just be amazing if like everybody is saying right now, imagine the fucking Packers get another Hall of Fame QB out of Jordan Love. I mean, they let him develop. I mean, who would be better at producing great NFL QBs than the the Green Bay Packers? I mean, their approach is uncanny. They go pick somebody up a few years before their top QB uh, decides to leave or he's getting up in there in age. They let the younger guy develop like they did with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. And then when the guy gets unhappy and they ship him off to the Jets, um, then the next guy steps up and takes his place and does whatever he needs to do. So I think that the Packers, they're definitely going to be in good hands this year with Jordan Love, but we still need to see more. I mean, we don't know nearly enough. It's you could also give that up to Matt Nagy knowing the Bears playing them so frequently. Um, yeah, that was a surprising game. I picked the Bears. I honestly bet against the Packers, but we're gonna see how they do against the Falcons now. I still think the Packers are probably gonna finish above the Bears, under Vikings. No, maybe we'll have to see. We'll have to see. If the Vikings beat the Eagles, then the Packers are below the Vikings. But Packers versus Falcons, give me the Packers. I'm not gonna bet up against the Packers again. Raiders versus Bills. Now this is one of those games where my heart is telling me you know go for the Raiders. Go for the Raiders. You're a Raider fan. Just support your team. You know what I mean? But it's one of those situations where there's too many questions marks. I want to support my team, but I just don't know. I don't know what to expect from them. I don't know what to see uh, defensively speaking in the secondary. What type of pressure they can put on Josh Allen, because that's really what it's going to fall to. And also, especially watching how Josh Allen played against zone coverage. I mean, he was throwing into triple coverage. He was throwing into double coverage. I mean, he was basically arm punting the ball to the Jets. They were all thrown to one guy. He was just punting them to one guy. One guy picked up three uh, interceptions from Josh Allen. All three of them came from one guy. And then on top of that, you have Josh Allen that fumbled the ball. He now leads the league in interceptions since he joined the league in 2018 and fumbles since he joined the league in 2018. That's bad. We give this guy such a high, we praise this guy all the time. We give him all these breaks, and we say that he's a great NFL QB, and we think so highly of him. But he fails to produce when it matters the most. So I mean, I think that they're definitely going to be fine. He's a good QB. Don't get me wrong, Josh. I'm not saying that Josh Allen is not a good QB, but I'm saying that he definitely needs to pick it up week 2. I'm a Raiders fan. I'm still going to go for the Bills because realistically, I think that they'll figure it out, and they're not going to they're not going to go to 0-2. I just don't see it. Now we got the Titans versus Chargers. Sorry. Where's my mouse? Next next game after that we're going to be looking at for next Sunday is the Chargers versus Titans. Chargers defense is ass. They need to work on that most definitely. So I don't know how well the Chargers will do against Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. You know, Derrick Henry still is Derrick Henry at the end of the day, and he still has that stiff arm ability. That guy is a bulldozer, and they better be ready for that. They better be able to stop him. Don't let him get any yards. Don't let him run down your throat, because if he does, it's going to turn into a really bad day. And especially if DeAndre Hopkins is able to get the ball, be a factor in that game, it can go really bad for the Chargers, and it can turn into a shootout. But there's still definitely a lot of questions for the Titans going forward, and if they're really going to be contenders. They're in a weak division, so there's still a possibility for them, but I don't know. But being that I'm a Raiders fan, I'm going to go against them. So I'm going Titans for that game. 49ers versus Rams. Give me the 49ers. There's not really a weakness that I could have seen in that game. They looked elite on every level. Defensively speaking, they were studs, putting pressure on Kenny Pickett. Reading the coverage, you know, not letting him breathe. You know, he was on the run the entire night, just like how Daniel Jones was. And you got to start wondering, is that Kenny Pickett's offensive line, or is that more just how good the 49ers defensive line is? And I think it's a little bit of both, but yeah, give me the 49ers in that game. The Rams are definitely looking good, especially without Cooper Rush for the first 4 weeks. But I think that the 49ers are just going to be too good for them. No disrespect to the Rams, but they're just going to be too good for them. Giants versus Cardinals, two teams that are basically fighting for last place in their division now, in their own divisions respectively. They're not in the same division. But New York Giants versus New York Giants versus the Arizona Cardinals. Give me the Giants. The Cardinals are, I mean, we all say that they're tanking, right? We all see that, like, they got rid of a lot of key pieces and they don't have Kyler Murray and they're starting Josh Dobbs. And they're this team, it's a big question mark because they have a new coach. They have a QB that, you know, he's basically a glorified backup starting, and because they don't have Kyler Murray, and it's too many questions for that team. There's too many holes, but I mean, who knows? They could come out and surprise us at the end of the day. I'm not gonna try and hate on them too much, but yeah, give me the Giants. I mean, Giants aren't much better, but I'm definitely taking the Giants over the Cardinals for this one, for this matchup at least. After that, we have the Jets versus Cowboys. Now, this is really going to settle down to which defense can stop the other team from scoring as many points as possible, because both of these have really good defenses. Um, Offensively, still leaves a lot to be desired. We don't know. Dak Prescott wasn't really much of a factor. He didn't make any mistakes. Uh, no hate to the guy. He didn't do much offensively speaking. he was pretty pedestrian. He was just like an average NFL QB. He wasn't something that jumped out. The run game was really great. Tony Pollard running out there doing his thing. But yeah, it's really going to fall down to the coverages and how they play football. I don't think that the Cowboys are really going to be passing the ball much with this Jets defense. If they're smart enough, they're going to realize like, hey, let's try to, pick at that run defense, see if they can stop us there. Because I do think that the Cowboys' offensive line is good enough to hang with that defensive front. So, uh, it's going to be it's going to be very interesting as far as defensive matchups. But I don't think a lot of people would be interested in that game just because everybody likes to watch a game like the Chargers versus Miami, where it was just a shootout between two teams offensively, where both defenses basically look like mediocre at best. Um, but yeah, for that game, give me the Cowboys. Commanders versus Broncos. Um, so Broncos should win. Realistically, Broncos should win that game against the Commanders. I don't even know who the Commanders QB is. Realistically, I'm sorry for all Commanders fans, but yeah, I don't see Sam Howell. Sam Howell is their QB. Chase Young, defense, Terry McLaurin. I mean, they have some good pieces. Don't get me wrong. Jacoby Brissett is their backup. Terry McLaurin, their defense should look better this year. Uh, I'm kind of excited. They're one of those teams where like you want to root for them, but at the same time you're just like, can I really though? Can I? They came out and got the week 1 win last week, so you can't really hate on them, but uh they have to really step it up. And I think that the Broncos defense is going to be a lot for that young receiving core. So give me the Broncos for that one. I Broncos should win that one. It's not going to be a high scoring game, but yeah. Dolphins versus Patriots. Patriots defense looked great against, or not great, I should say. They looked really good. They looked comfortable. They looked ready to go. And, I think that even though the Patriots lost against the Eagles last week, I think that they really, answered some questions as far as what was going to be going on going into week 1. They looked solid. They looked comfortable. They looked like they were ready. And it's just reminiscent of what the Patriots of old when Tom Brady was there was like before. Maybe it's a one-time thing because Tom Brady was there being inducted into the, Patriots Hall of Fame or whatever the hell it was. I'm not a Patriots fan, but Mac Jones looks comfortable. He looks like he's taking command of the offense. He looks like he feels comfortable with his offensive play calling, and he's reading plays very well. So I'm very interested to see how the Patriots finish this year. I don't think they're going to take top 2. In my prediction, they're going to finish 3, maybe 4. No, they probably might go higher than the Jets. It all depends. For the Jets, it honestly all depends on how Zach Wilson develops into Nathaniel Hackett. I really wish the best for the kid, and hope that he can really develop into a QB that was expected of him. But yeah, for Patriots versus Dolphins, give me the Dolphins for that one. Next, we got Panthers versus Saints. And for that one, you know, again, Bryce Young, rookie year, going against one of the best defenses in the league. Um, Definitely a top 10 defense in the league. So, I mean, you got to wonder how he's going to be able to handle that pressure, and also um, how how good is his pocket awareness. Because if the Saints get start attacking at that line and just getting him out of his comfort zone, it could turn ugly really fast. And he's definitely shown some moments where it was where you would think, oh, this guy is going to be a special talent, but then other times you're like, okay, he's a rookie. You let it slide. Browns versus Steelers. Okay, so this one falls down more into again, the defensive roles. I mean, is Kenny Pickett going to be able to play well? That was a terrible loss for him week 1. So is he going to be able to bounce back from that? You know, just like bounce back from that loss and really, stick it to everybody that's like talking down on him. You know what I mean? So Steelers versus Browns. I just don't see the Steelers defense really competing to the level that the Browns defense is going to be. And Deshaun Watson didn't look great, but he definitely looked better than Kenny Pickett. So for that one, I'm going to have to go with the Browns. At least like overall, the Browns are just built better. And I might even change my prediction of who's going to win the AFC North. But I mean, there's just so many good teams in that division. I mean, we have 3 teams: the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns. But the Browns and the Ravens are the only 2 teams that won week 1. But I think that the Bengals will be fine. I think that the Ravens will be just fine. I mean, they need to pick up somebody for running back because they already lost J.K. Dobbins in the first game, which is extremely heartbreaking for any franchise, especially for a franchise that relies so heavily on Lamar Jackson to run the ball. You don't want to be putting your quarterback in those situations, and especially more people are starting to want to see Lamar Jackson, see what he can do besides just running the ball. Because I mean, everybody knows that running the ball so much shortens the lifespan of your career, and you don't want to see that, especially for a potential Hall of Fame career if he can stay healthy for long enough. But yeah, those are my week 1 predictions for football. Yeah, that was my week 1 predictions for football. What I saw from week 1. There was other games that I didn't really talk about, mainly because they weren't as interesting. Again, this is week 1. We're still analyzing teams, see what they can do to be better, see what they can do to really change their probability of winning against top teams. And I think that it's going to be a hell of a season. I was overwhelmed. I'm not going to lie. I needed a couple days to recuperate from that because I was overwhelmed by the amount of football that was happening with the first day, watching from 10:30 in the morning all the way until 1, until the Raiders game, because then I was focused on that. And then all the stress from the Raiders game from watching that just to see, okay, the defense looks pretty much the same. They look all right. They look a little bit better, but left a lot to be desired. A lot of great football, though, overall. A lot of bad football, too. But yeah, it was it was definitely fun to watch. I'm glad that football's back, and we're gonna get back into this next week. I'm gonna try and make this more of a series once every week. Try and get more people, or get more people in the streams. Try and have conversations with more people instead of just me talking to myself for so long. I just wanted to come out here, make a video, just try it out. It's my first one, but I'm not gonna complain. This was fun, and I hope that you guys can check in next week. Peace.